another penny, not another dollar.
Not another penny, not another dollar.
No more money for Israel's slaughter.
No more money for Israel's slaughter.
Palestine will be free.
Palestine will be free.
Say it louder. From the river to the sea.
From the river to the sea.
Palestine will be free.
Palestine will be free.
From the sea to the river.
From the sea to the river.
Palestine will live forever.
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 Palestine will live forever. No slaughter.
Free, free Palestine.
Free, free Palestine.
Free, free, free Palestine.
Free, free, free Palestine.
You can't hide.
USC, you can't hide.
You're supporting genocide.
You're supporting genocide.
USC, you can't hide.
USC, you can't hide.
You're supporting genocide.
You're supporting genocide.
USC, you can't hide.
USC, you can't hide.
You're supporting genocide.
You're supporting genocide.
Thank you. All right, everybody, how are you doing? I can't hear you. How are you doing? That's right. Okay, my name is Hamsini. I am a graduate student worker at USC. And I've got to tell you, for the last 2 weeks, for the last 6 months, I have been furious, so angry. But I've also been filled with hope. And my hope comes from people like you who are resisting what's happening and who are our shot for ending this. So we stand here today to show USC that we will not be distracted, we will not be intimidated, and we will not be silenced from demanding an end to complicity in genocide and freedom for Palestine. As students nationwide and around the world have taken action and universities have cracked down, as USC once again ordered DPS, accompanied by LAPD, to sweep a peaceful protest, while UCLA unleashed much worse, Israel ordered the evacuation of Rafah. They rejected a ceasefire agreement in order to proceed with an invasion of the most densely populated part of Palestine, now that Rafah, a city that once held 250,000 people and now holds over 1 million people, is under attack. Israel has moved forward with airstrikes. Last night, they killed 27 people, at least, including 6 children. And this is on top of months of bombing, the destruction of infrastructure, including communication infrastructure, hospitals, the denial of aid, of food, water, medical care, the targeting of journalists. The United Nations just released a statement noting that more than 390 bodies have been found in mass graves near the Nasser and Al-Shifa hospitals. Every university in Gaza has been destroyed. Over 40,000 dead. This is why we stand here. So to the organizers and participants of USC's Gaza Solidarity encampment, I just want to send a quick message. I am in awe of what you accomplished in the past 2 weeks. The encampment was a feat of organizing and love. And it resonated around the world. You showed that we are willing to put ourselves on the line to say enough to our government and to our university's complicity in genocide. You cut through institutional silencing and stayed strong in the face of reactionary violence. You have not let yourself be distracted, but reminded everyone over and over that our campus struggle is deeply connected to the Palestinian struggle. And in doing so, you showed USC the power of student activism. Make no mistake, this has exposed USC's rotting administration and shaken its apathetic campus culture to the core. The world that we built on campus for more than 10 days, along with students on campuses around the world, a community for teaching, learning, and growing together towards liberation for all with tireless dedication and resilience, is one we promise to keep striving for with you. The authoritarianism we have faced at USC for the past 2 weeks, which comes after months of silence and silencing, has unleashed police brutality and terror within the walls of our campus. They've instituted bag checks and ID checks. They've built perimeter after perimeter of fencing. They trashed the beautiful encampment. And they blocked press access. They've arrested and suspended protesters for the crime of drawing attention to genocide. And they blame us for it. President Bolt refers to protesters as occupiers and calls us a threat to the safety of campus. Occupiers. Anyone who spent 5 seconds at the encampment knows this is a lie. Nonetheless, we are blamed for the violence of counter-protesters and police, and for basically harshing the vibe of finals and commencement. It has repeatedly been made clear that the university values property and the appearance of normalcy, aka silence about complicity in genocide, over the speech and protest of students, and over the lives of the people that we are advocating for. There's a term in the studies of interpersonal violence called DARVO, deny, attack, reverse victim, and offender. That is what the university has been doing to us for the past 2 weeks. That is what our government has been doing to us for the past 6 months. But all of this past 2 weeks, is nothing compared to the 6 months of genocidal violence Israel unleashed in Palestine, the years of apartheid, the decades of ethnic cleansing, and the colonization experienced by Palestinians. So I stand here with you today, students, graduate student workers, faculty, and members of our community, to demand 3 things. First, full amnesty from legal and academic sanctions placed on our students, our graduate workers, and faculty involved with these protests. Let me hear you say it. Drop the charges.
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 All right. Second, we demand that the university commit to accountability for unleashing a militarized police force on campus. And we demand that they genuinely engage with protests rather than lying about and criminalizing protesters. We demand that they end the securitization of campus. We do not need more walls, more barriers, or more so-called security. So let me hear you say, LAPD off our campus!
LAPD off our campus.
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 And finally, and I say this for last because it is the most important demand we have, we demand that USC pulls its investments from all companies that profit from Israel's genocide, including the military and arms manufacturers. Let me hear you say, disclose, divest. We will not stop. We will not rest.
Disclose, divest. We will not stop. We will not rest.
Disclose, divest. We will not stop. We will not rest.
Disclose, divest. We will not stop. We will not rest.
Disclose, divest. We will not stop. We will not rest.
Disclose, divest. We will not stop. We will not rest.
Don't stop. Disclose, divest.
We will not stop. We will not rest. Disclose, divest. We will not stop. We will not rest. Disclose, divest. We will not stop. We will not rest. Disclose, divest. We will not stop. We will not rest.
Hello. Hello. I'm Harlow, a Jewish Israeli person and a co-founder and vice president of JVP USC. I will start off. Oh, I thought I was fixing it. Okay. I will start off with a quote from Adrienne Marie Brown, who is speaking about evil in our world. If I can see where I learned the behavior and how hard it is to unlearn it, I start to have more humility as I see the messiness of the communities I am a part of, the world I live in. In the past 6 months, I've learned a lot about human nature. And the fact is, evil is not something abstract. It's not far beyond the scope of our everyday existence. At the same time, evil is not essential to our being and can be escaped through education and a willingness to change. Evil exists here on earth, and it has wrapped itself in the structures of our society. To be more specific, evil and greed are woven throughout our government and the people who represent us, our education system, our justice system, and our media. These all claim to represent truth and justice, but are all actually tools to help the already powerful maintain their unearned privileges. In the past 2 weeks, USC has called DPS and LAPD to suppress our free speech here on campus. They've detained and arrested students for exercising their rights, and they've created a makeshift apartheid system here on campus in order to maintain their genocidal status quo. This is a reinforcement of suppression and evil in our world, and evil we will not stand for. Most of us are born complicit in this evil, whether we like it or not. And that will remain in each and every one of us until we make and continue to make the conscious decision to resist the propaganda and the conditioned apathy by educating ourselves about the experiences of the oppressed, marginalized, and underrepresented. By fighting dehumanization through empathy for our fellow humans who are just as deserving of life and joy as we are. Lastly, we fight through action by asking ourselves, what can I do today to resist the evils and the oppressive power structures our society is rooted in so we can move towards liberation? Yesterday, Israel made the decision to attack Rafah, a refugee tent city that is currently one of the most densely populated areas in the world. They did so after designating Rafah as the only safe place in their genocidal campaign against Gaza. And they did so even after Hamas accepted a ceasefire agreement that allowed for the return of all Israeli hostages. If it wasn't clear before, it should now be horrifyingly obvious that Israel's genocide has never been about the hostages or about protecting Israelis or Jewish people. Through this genocide, Israel seeks to finally establish their sovereignty over the land of occupied Palestine, to eliminate anyone whose existence threatens their claims of indignity to the land that they have illegally occupied through settler colonialism. The most recent offensive on Rafah is this genocide's version of the Nazis' final solution. And in their endless depravity, they started their offensive on Rafah on Holocaust Remembrance Day. As an anti-Zionist Israeli Jew, I stand here, supported by my Jewish comrades, to say never again means never again for anyone. As I watch the evil of the Israeli government, my government, I almost lose hope. But here, today, surrounded by people who actively choose resistance to the institutions and systems that oppress us, just as they oppress the Palestinian people tenfold, I have so much hope for the future. And that's not just for me, but also the people of Gaza who make videos and write letters of gratitude for our actions. We ground our struggle in their struggle for liberation. And as we fight for their liberation, they also liberate us. To resist such dominant structures of evil, we know that we must work together to learn and unlearn and mobilize together from a place of empathy and intention. We must continue to fight systems that make this genocide possible and to restructure our society so that nothing like this can ever happen again. This begins here with all of us. This begins with USC's divestment from their investments in death and genocide. They may try to intimidate us, to make us feel that we are powerless, to make any change. But we know from the moments of the past and from the Palestinian fight for liberation that change is possible through our collective knowledge and humanity and resistance. Thank you.
Hi everyone, as Hamsini already mentioned, my name is Anand. I'm here as a member of UAW Local 872. We are a union representing over 3,000 graduate students. We are teaching assistants, we are research assistants, we are assistant lecturers, we are fellows at USC, and many of our fellow co-workers, students, and faculty have bravely been standing up against USC's financial stake in this fucking genocide. We are witnessing horrific events in real fucking time, and like USC has to fucking divest from this authoritarian regime. Today, we as leaders of our union and members of our extended community have very fucking clear demands. Also, I'm sorry I'm cussing so much. Tom, we are here to demand full amnesty for everyone who participated in their protected right to free speech and peaceful protest. Those who are arrested by a militarized force with the authorization of USC administration right here on our fucking campus. Like, we are the students that make this shit up. We demand that USC drop the charges and stop all disciplinary procedures against protesters, including unlawful suspensions. We demand that USC stop restricting our access to campus through use of increasingly militarized force. We demand that USC admits its contribution to the ongoing genocide and fucking divest. We are here today in the midst of like horrific bombardments happening at Rafah right now, in solidarity with our fellow co-workers, our community, and a movement of students across the country and the globe to demand a free Palestine. The stakes have never been higher, people. Calling the police on their workers and students is but USC's first step in this escalatory effort to repress our rights to free speech and protest. Y'all are seeing right now on campus right there where USC has unilaterally changed how we as students and workers operate in and around campus with multiple checkpoints, designated free speech area, whatever that means, discriminatory bag searches, with increasingly militarized presence on campus, making it incredibly unsafe for every single person here. And out of plain sight, USC administration is sending threatening emails to brave protesters who are arrested while exercising their right to protected free speech. A lot of your USC students, is this the de-escalations and the weeks of methodical planning that Carol Fold keeps referring to her in the emails? No! In response, we filed an unfair labor practice charge against the university for violating the National Labor Relations Act. They fucking called the police on us, on students and workers engaging in their protected right to free speech, and unilaterally changing access for every single person here and beyond to our campus, like literally our fucking campus. Did we authorize the militarization of our campus? No! Exactly. We are currently working with city council members and LA City Controller to look into all the wasteful public spending on the police presence and arrests on our campus. There is a motion that is going to be brought forward in the city council soon to publish an after-action report and provide transparency and accountability into the policing of our campus. We call on every city council member to vote yes on this motion. Basic accountability and transparency is the least that we fucking deserve. We have also filed multiple grievances against USC administration's harassment and discrimination and retaliatory use of disciplinary processes against our students. Shame on you, USC. We demand that USC end its repression of our workers' right to free speech, and we are here to exercise our rights to have a say in our own working conditions. Legal recourse to our contract and our extended rights as workers' union is a great way to establish power against an entity that holds disproportionate power against us. We are the working class people, we are students, we are research assistants, we are an extended community that has been increasingly displaced by USC. However,
USC. You are.
Exactly, we are USC. However, our grievances and charges and other things are only as strong as the people power behind them. Our being here today shows USC that we are united behind our demands. We are the power that really strikes fear in the hearts of imperialist organizations with billions of fucking dollars on their side. Us, the people, members of a global fucking community, showing up together for each other and standing up for each other in solidarity. I have been an international student in the US for close to 10 years now, and I know what it feels like to, feel disenfranchised, feel a lack of agency when you're seeing like all the things that are happening here in LA, in the US, back home in India for me, and in occupied Palestine, and across the rest of the fucking world. And I can tell you this, I have never felt more powerful than right here, right now, with all of us united citizens of the world fighting for justice and freedom. We will keep fucking building this power by expanding our community through our local unions, through our activism, and using our collective power, we will fucking dismantle the powers that be. Because when we fight, we win. Say it with me, everyone. When we fight, we win. When we fight, we win. When we fight, we win. Thank you all.
For Palestinian liberation and the right of students to protest USC's contribution to genocide, Professor Jody Armour.
I've done this before. 1, 2. It's great to see folks from the encampment here now. Remember well, Jewish students, Muslim students, Arab, black, white, straight, queer students, all standing together, and faculty fit into a lot of those categories. And faculty fit into a lot of those categories. And I'm just going to draw on the spirit of the students I sat down with on Tuesday and Wednesday when they were confronting President Folk and the university council and somebody from the student affairs office. 3 undergrads, a graduate student. Myself were in the room. The first thing that folks said to them after they asked her, why did you unleash the LAPD on us? These people with batons, mace, right, cuffs, Glocks with live ammunition, stun guns, right? All they are, those are tools of violence. All they are is violence workers. That's what you call a violence worker. Yeah. Why, they ask her, did you unleash these violence workers on us, your students? You call us part of the Trojan family. That's how you treat your family members? Maybe if you're into domestic violence, right? Maybe that's what you're saying, that you know, that's in that sense we're going to treat you like family members. But that's not how you treat people you care about, who you have care, concern, and compassion for. Her response was, well, you broke the rules. Her response was, you broke the rules. Fine. Here's what, this is the thing I love about students. They can sniff out, you youngins can sniff out hypocrisy. Right? With the quickness. Without missing a beat, they said, well, you didn't abide by the rules. You didn't follow the rules when you canceled Osna Tabasi. Osna Tabasi was the valedictorian speaker who was supposed to deliver the valedictory address. There had been an unbroken precedent going back since time immemorial in this institution. Never had a valedictorian not deliver the valedictorian address. Now, you didn't abide by that rule. You didn't live up to that rule. Now, you're going to lecture us on following the rules when you can't follow your own rules?
That's right.
Right? Their move, and you remember from Guzman's letter, is no one's entitled. No one's entitled to give a valedictorian address, a valedictory address. That's what he said, right? You remember in the letter?
Oh, yeah.
What the hell does that even mean? Right? I teach at the law school. He used to be the dean of the law school for 8 years before he moved into this position. Let me tell you a little bit about entitlement. Right? Let me tell you a little bit about how rights work, right? My wife, Frida Devereaux, 1977, Casper, Wyoming, Kelly Walsh High School. She had the highest GPA in her class at making her the valedictorian, right? She was ready to deliver her valedictory address, and the parents, this is an all-white high school, Casper, Wyoming. Okay, the parents, the teachers, and the students became unhinged. What, this young black woman delivering the valedictory address? That year, they decided to change the rules. And the person who gave the valedictory address was the quarterback of the football team. Then the next year, they went back to the highest GPA, giving the valedictory address. Now, that principal, Kelly Walsh, could have parroted the provost and said, you have no entitlement to give the valedictory address, so you have no complaint. We all can see how morally obtuse that would be, right? You see how morally obtuse such a claim would be. She had a right that was rooted in, and this is, I teach this over at the law school. Here's what rights are rooted in: reasonable expectations that are themselves rooted in fairness. Right? You have a reasonable expectation that you're going to be treated like everyone else in your position up until the time that you received the treatment you did. Right? Those are reasonable expectations based on unbroken precedent. And you root those reasonable expectations in fairness, and you have what we teach over the law school, something called a moral right or a moral entitlement. And then what do we teach them to, our law students to do? We teach them to take those moral rights and entitlements, take them to court, and have them ripen into legal rights and entitlements. So just to say, wave your hand and smugly say you have no entitlement to deliver the valedictory address is insulting to all of our intelligence and morally obtuse, all right? Number one. Number two, then his next argument. We were talking, you were saying you went in, we talked to him today. Their number two argument is, well, we had to cancel her because of safety. Safety is all that matters. And you remember his letter, he said, period. It was about safety, period. Right? Okay, what? Now think about it for a moment. When is it ever about safety, period? Never. Right? If it was always about safety, period, you'd never walk out your damn front door in the morning. Right? If it was always just about avoiding risk, you'd never get behind the wheel of a car. Right? If it was only just about risk, we never would have integrated high schools and colleges in Mississippi. Because they knew when they integrated those colleges in Mississippi that there was a risk that there could be harm, serious harm that was going to befall people, and it did. Right? In some cases. But we figured that those risks were worth taking given the values we wanted to vindicate. We saw that. We know how to think like that. We know how to do that. Remember in 2018, many of you weren't here. Some of us were. Ben Shapiro came to campus. Okay. And avowedly virulent, racist, misogynist in many ways, right? He was giving a talk over at Bovard Auditorium. And a lot of people, check out the parallels here. A lot of people said, that will make us feel unsafe if he comes to campus. It would make me feel too uncomfortable. I don't want him to come to campus for those reasons, right? The provost then, Michael Quick, said, the sacred value of a university is free speech. Right? Not the sacred value. So what did he do? What we should have done with Osna Tabassum. What did he do? He beefed up security to minimize the risk, reduce the risk to a reasonable amount. He let him speak. We marched. We marched all around while he was speaking. And the next day, we celebrated together the fact that we could vindicate people's vaunted free speech rights and afford students safety at the same time. We could do it. We're able to do it. We just decided not to do it with Osna Tabassum. Why? What's the difference? Right, we've had Obama come to campus, security issues. We've had Kings come to campus. You know, we've had all kinds of folks come to campus with high security risk. We've beefed up security and gone ahead and let them do their thing, right? So why not in Osna Tabassum's case? Well, you have to wonder, is it that this is a Muslim hijab-wearing student who might say something pro-Palestinian. She hadn't even written her speech yet, right? And was going to write one. She said it was going to be about unity. 4 minutes. She gets to speak 4 minutes, right? She hadn't even written it, but the possibility that she might say something pro-Palestinian and make certain people feel uncomfortable, whoever that might be, unsafe, wasn't enough for Ben Shapiro. Isn't enough for a lot of other. It makes you wonder if it's not viewpoint discrimination, right? It makes you wonder if it's not Islamophobia, anti-Muslim Islamophobia that's really driving the decision, because you control for every other variable and that's all that's left, right? Where else do you go? And so their next move is, okay, well, we've handled, you know, the entitlement issue, we've handled the safety issue. What is the next argument that they've come up with, right? Look, one thing I know for sure, we all know for sure, anti-Semitism is wrong. Anti-Semitism is evil. All right? Being anti-genocide is not anti-Semitism. Being anti-mass graves is not anti-Semitism. Being anti-incineration of babies is not anti-Semitism. Being anti-starving, imposed starvation, and imposed famine is not anti-Semitism. My Jewish brothers and sisters who joined us at the camp knew that, would say it repeatedly. We all know that, right? When I was just student's age, we were fighting against South African apartheid. They pulled the same stunts on us. We had something back then called shanty towns. Let me get over here, maybe that's it. We had something called shanty towns. Right, we set up our shanty towns, they brought in the police, cracked heads, did all that, told us that we couldn't do it. We kept on coming back, and eventually boycott, divest, sanction won out. BDS, tell me, folks, when has it been the case that when students have arisen en masse, as we're seeing now, when in history of this country have they not been vindicated? Have they not been proven right? When has history not vindicated? One time, give me one example. You can't, right? You can't give me Vietnam. You can't give me South Africa. You can't give me Iraq. Right? Remember Iraq, there was you couldn't even utter a word that was, anything critical of America or anything else after 9/11. The students got out in front of that. I would hope that if it was 1858 and slavery was the law of the land in many states, that some students and people like me were standing on blocks being auctioned, right, along with my kids. I would hope that some students would start pitching some damn tents. I would hope that if it was 1938, 39, 40, and I just not long ago came from Poland, and you go there, you gotta go to Treblinka, you gotta go through Krakow and check out Auschwitz, right? You gotta see what we're capable of, what people are capable of. Gotta see it, right? I would hope that it was 38, 39, 40, and we understood that our Jewish brothers and sisters were being put on trains and sent to camps, and some of our American companies were building those train engines and helping build those tracks, that we would start pitching some damn tents. Right? Who is going to tell us? And that is where you're at. The students, when you arise in mass, there's never been a time. It's not just like, some people said that it's time that everybody be a vegan, so we're going to pitch tents. No, what happens to get a mass student movement going is there is an intolerable injustice that's recognized from coast to coast, right? And that's the vetting mechanism right there. Right? When it comes from coast to coast, that is your assurance that something really ugly and fundamental is going on, and that a basic injustice that's of historical dimensions is going on. That's what you're fighting for now. That is what you're fighting against now. That is why history is going to vindicate you. Right? There's no question that history is going to vindicate you. And so I'm going to turn this back over. Here's one thing I wanted to say just before that. I have a colleague who just wrote an op-ed that I thought was very powerful. And this is about the misogyny of the anti-protest. Right? One thing we haven't talked about is how much this movement is led by young women. Right? It's like the Black Lives Matter movement. Black Lives Matter movement is young black women. Let me tell you that. There's a few of us guys here and there, mostly young black women. That's what it was. And she says, can I share a few lines with her? Just to contextualize some of this. The misogyny of the anti-protest, fat, ugly, DITCH are just a few of the invectives hurled at female anti-war protesters by counter-protesters, a name the press has given to pro-Israel demonstrators. Angry mobs and frat boys gather to jeer and perform monkey dances alike. You saw the monkey dance, right? Counter-protesters have regularly shouted that they hope female protesters are raped. You've seen that? Pundits condescend that the anti-war protesters are coddled, silly, ahistorical, and misguided. Female professors like the former chair of Dartmouth's Jewish Studies Department, Annalise Orlick, and Emory's philosophy chair, Noel McAfee, and economics professor Carolyn Frolin have attempted to intervene in male officers' duty to violently clear encampment only to be met with humiliation and brutality. Get on the ground, an enraged male cop screamed breathlessly at Frolin. When she didn't immediately take her place at his feet, officers forced her there, smashing her head on the concrete. The taunts of the pumped-up bro attacking the UCLA encampment summed it up. You stand no chance, old lady. You remember that? You stand no chance, old lady. These protesters are not for the male gaze. Female students are swaddled in masks and keffiyeh and using social media for political messages, not painted in makeup and using Kardashian-filtered visages to amass likes. Why would any woman choose the former over the latter? Megyn Kelly has the answer. They are homely, she declares, adding that attractive women would not protest. Right. One viral video shows the LA police, after their nighttime invasion of the UCLA encampment, stripping a handcuffed young Asian woman of her head covering and facing her into the glare of news camera lights, almost reminiscent of the public stripping of heretical women in the Dark Ages. European countries treat arrest as a dignitary harm and require arrestees be shielded from public view as much as possible. Not on this side of the pond. The LA police's grotesque display of arrestees is nothing compared to the NYPD's propaganda video after its military-style raid of Columbia's Hamilton Hall to arrest a handful of students within. Perhaps most insulting, these women are not here for us, is what they're saying. Protesters are wary of mainstream reporters who have portrayed them as pro-Hamas terrorists and opportunists who seek viral sound bites to prove protesters are silly and stupid or deadly serious and dangerous. They can't make up their mind. Are we serious? Are they silly and stupid or deadly serious and dangerous? So they are tight-lipped and letting their presence and copious posters do the speaking. Check out her. I'm just giving you a little taste. There is a definite.
Where is that published?
She's getting ready to publish it.
Oh, she hasn't.
Out
Okay.
yet. Yes, this is Aya Gruber, professor at USC Law School, feminist theorist, the real deal. And I want to read it some more, but I'll just leave it there and say that this is a righteous struggle on a whole lot of levels, not just on, the levels that we've been talking about it on, but on the levels of also how are we going to combat the rampant kind of not only racism but misogyny that is being visited on the protesters, the ugly visage of just patriarchal kind of privilege that I'm part of. I have to look at my own self in the mirror and look at my own privilege, my own patriarchal position in all of this, and recognize that I'm part of the problem and have to be fighting as part of the solution. But that's all. I just wanted to share that with you. I thought this is really powerful, and I'm going to turn this back over to you.
I will keep it brief. I'm here with the National Union of Healthcare Workers. We represent nearly 2,000 USC Keck healthcare workers who are not here tonight because they are currently in negotiations with the employer. As we know, USC has a long history of trying to silence dissent. We are not immune as healthcare workers from that. They've recently proposed a silencing article in our contract that would prohibit us from striking, protesting, leafleting, info picking, posting on social media, advertising about their issues that they have as an employer and as a terrible community member. So that's something that we're really trying to rail against. We're in solidarity with you. We are also in solidarity with our union siblings at UAW who are out here on the front lines, day and night. When I look out here, I see a multi-generational movement, a diverse movement, a movement of people who care deeply about the well-being of each other and about the people all over the world. We are a united generation. We are more connected now than we have ever been. We are at a tipping point. We are closer than we have ever been. We have international friends. We have international colleagues. We have international family. We talk to each other daily. What is the quote? They didn't know when they tried to stop us that we were seeds. Yeah? We stand in solidarity with the healthcare workers of Palestine who are putting their lives on the line daily. I don't know if y'all saw the terrible story about the goodbye messages inscribed in very shaky handwriting on the walls of El Shifa Hospital. Have y'all seen that? Yeah, if you haven't seen that, definitely Google it. There are no hospitals left. There are no universities left. And Israel is trying to make it so that there are no people left, right? And USC is trying to silence us from talking about that. As workers, as community members, as students, as fucking humans. So I'm wondering if you'll like to join me in a chant. It goes, USC, don't silence me. That's the theme of our campaign. That's the theme of our workers' campaign. That's what we're fighting for. We're fighting against the silencing of all of us together in unity. And we're using our legal rights to do that. We're using our contract to do that. We are using our voices to do that, our humanity to do that, our community to do that, our petitions, our protests, our encampments, right? We're here, we're together, and that's all we have right now. We are all we have. So if you don't mind, I'd like to ask you to join me. So it's USC, don't silence me!
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 Free! Free Palestine!
Free! Free Palestine!
Free! Free! Free Palestine!
Free! Free! Free Palestine!
Free! Free Palestine!
Free! Free Palestine!
Free! Free! Free Palestine!
Free! Free! Free Palestine!
Thank you. Our union, just so you know, we represent about 20,000 healthcare workers throughout the United States. We are with you.
Nunca, nunca dejen de llevar su bandera palestina. Voy a hablar en español. Nunca dejen de llevar su bandera de Palestina donde vayan. Su manta de Palestina. Enseñemos a la gente que nos ven por ahí qué es lo que está pasando en Palestina. Enseñémosles que tenemos como humanos, tenemos que estar en contra del genocidio. Tenemos que estar en contra del asesinato de niños. Tenemos que decirles la verdad. Hablemos con la verdad. We don't have to lie. Tenemos que hablar siempre con la verdad. Y lo que tenemos que decirles a la gente, a los niños, que el Estado de Estados Unidos, el gobierno, es un Estado terrorista que está mandando nuestro dinero a matar niños. Y eso no puede ser.
¡Viva, viva Palestina!
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 Palestine to the Philippines!
From Palestine to the Philippines!
Stop the U.S. war machine!
Stop the U.S. war machine!
From Palestine to Mexico!
From Palestine to Mexico!
Struggle for a free Palestine. And I think we showed USC we're not going anywhere. You can tear down the encampment, you can throw away tents, which, you know, given the crisis of unhoused population in the city of Los Angeles, they could at least have donated the tents. You can try to silence us, but we will not be silenced. You can try to intimidate us by arresting our comrades, by suspending students. But we're not going to let that stop us, are we? No! We demand that USC drop these unjust charges. No academic sanctions for speaking your mind, for standing up against genocide. We demand that the university commit to never again bringing LAPD onto our campus to suppress dissent. And we demand that USC disclose its investments in this infernal war and then fucking divest. But that is not the end of our struggle. USC is our battle in this community, but this is so much bigger than USC, right? We're not stopping until there's a free Palestine.